Leave the world behind. It was kind of what I was expecting, but exactly opposite of what I was expecting at the same time. Starring Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, and the incredible Mahershala Ali. Wow, anything that dude does, I want to see. He did Blade. He did Luke Cage. Well, he's doing Blade. He's doing Luke Cage. Everything that dude does, I want to check it out, man. And this one was just as good as you would expect with an all-star cast such as these people. It gives you the impression that it's one type of movie, but I think that it's an alien invasion movie hidden as a different type of movie. So what had happened was Julia Roberts' character Amanda decides that she's had enough of the city and she wants to take a vacation. So she's going to take her family and she's rented out a place that's, I guess, rather expensive because they were saying $1,000 should get them till the morning one day. So that's like a day, $1,000 a day. Wow. But if you got it, spend it like that, man. So she goes to this incredible house, beautiful, big, multi-bedroom house. And the first night they're in there, the movie's broken up into five parts. The first night they're in there, the house is the name of the first part. When the sun goes down, they have visitors. Someone knocks at their door, and it turns out to be Mahershala Ali and his daughter, supposedly. So they knock on the door and they explain to them, hey man, it's a blackout in the city. Things are tripping. I do have a place, but since there's a blackout, there's no elevators, and my place is 14 stories up, so that's 14 flights of stairs. I got a bum knee. I wasn't gonna make it. So we just figured we would just come back home. I know we rented the place to you, man, but we just thought with these circumstances you would understand, and we'll stay the night. I'll give you $1,000, give you your money back for the night. And I was like, $1,000? That's not the week of the month. That's the night. It was a nice house though. It was a really nice house. So Julia Roberts is a little racist at this point, and she doesn't believe him. She doesn't. The look on her face and the way she spoke, there are some people who will identify that as, I think you're lying because you are black. It happens. It happens to me. Happens to other people, I'm sure. It must happen enough that they stuck it in this movie, didn't have to explain exactly what was happening. She just gave them that look and she questioned them. So Mahershala Ali kind of smiles and, he takes it and reiterates and explains. He knows her. He says her name, her full name, first and last name. Told her, you emailed me. I'm GH. Remember, you emailed a dude named GH. I just told you how much the rent was, and I told you what your first name was and your last name. She still don't believe him. So the daughter chimes in. She's a little feisty. Daughter chimes in. Ethan Hawke does not appear to be so racist. So he tells them, come on in. Yeah, no problem. Spend the night. So they decide in their house that they're going to spend the night in the basement. He's a rich dude. Ali is a rich dude in this movie. And in his basement, he's got bed and closet, bathroom, all that kind of stuff down there already set up, I guess, for guests. I don't know. So he goes down there and spends the night. The following day, they realize that not only is there a blackout in the city, but things are happening where they are, and they're like way out, away from the city. They're in a town far away from the city. And things like the internet isn't working. There's several deer that kind of wander into the yard that they don't really have a problem with at first. But when the camera view changes and it goes from straight ahead to an elevated view and looking down, you see that there are hundreds, maybe thousands of deer just beyond the bushes, just beyond their sight. Something's happening. Later on in the movie, a flock of flamingos, they're near the city, so I would have thought pigeons, but a bunch of flamingo fly into the pool, man. And I'm like, what's up with the flamingos? Why flamingos? What's up with that? So a lot of weird things are happening. Julia Roberts doesn't trust Mahershala Ali or his daughter. And the daughter and her go back and forth. They snap at each other. But they decide to try to be peaceful. There's a scene where the daughter decides that she's going to go to the pool. Everybody's at the pool. She's going to go there in this little teeny tiny swimming suit. And I guess all of them are teeny tiny if you think about it. But she goes out there and she's kind of, I think she was intimidating the son because there's a son too. And she's a little older than the son, but she's like, on her stomach and then on her side with her tukish facing the sun. And he's like, and lifts his camera up and it's like, big, 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 big. And he's taking pictures. And she knows. And I'm like, why is she messing with that dude? Later, she kind of messes with the dad too. She catches the dad out by himself and she wants to talk to him all alone. Ask him about his sexual life and stuff. And I'm like, what's happening with the daughter? What's going on with the daughter? That was kind of weird to me. Kind of weird. But things are happening to these people. There's a scene where the family, as soon as they get in the town, they decide to go to the beach. The family is on the beach, and way out, they see an oil tanker. The father says, that's probably a dock around here. He takes a nap. The daughter's like, hey man, that oil tanker is getting close. And they look up and it's huge. It's like right up on them. It's coming pretty fast. And he's like, it'll stop. And I'm thinking, why would it stop? There's no, where's it gonna dock at? It's gonna drop the oil on the beach? What do you mean it'll stop? So slowly they start picking up their stuff and like, maybe we should get out of here. And as soon as they start running, it hits the beach, there's a loud noise, shoves the sand explodes up in the air. And I'm like, yeah, you better get out of there, man. It's an oil tanker. You don't know what's wrong with it. Maybe that thing's about to blow up. And they just kind of sashaying away. And I'm like, nah, I'd have been way out of there. Because you don't know. If it would have blown up, people would have said they didn't think it was going to blow up. And they would have been right to say that. It didn't blow up. That just means they got lucky. It's an oil tanker. That something's wrong with it. And it crashed. And they just kind of walked away. So there's a lot of weird things happening. The family tries to leave the house and go back to the city where they think they'll be safer. Mahershala Ali tells them, nah man, I think we better all stay right here because some weird stuff is happening. They decide to leave. They get on the road and they see a big line of vehicles. They look like most of them have wrecked. So they decide to check it out. And it turns out that it is self-driving Teslas. And something has triggered them to try to drive on this road. Now, the very first Tesla must have hit something or just was programmed to stop because the second one hit it, the next one hit it, the next one hit it. And like for a mile, there's just these And it's all the same type. They're all white, small Teslas. They're all driving and crashing into each other. So I'm not thinking, something's wrong and somebody sent them. I am thinking somebody sent them. I'm not thinking something's wrong and they're, mechanically wacky right now. I'm looking and I'm thinking somebody's using those Teslas to block the roads. The aliens. I'm thinking aliens still. Later, they get an idea that it might be two of America's non-allies have combined together, at least two of them, maybe more. Because they find these pamphlets that say death to America. One of them, they believe, might be in Mandarin. So it's possibly China. And the reason that they know it says death to America is because it's got a symbol on it that the sun recognizes from the internet. Why would he look at that? I don't know. But he noticed it from the internet. He said, oh, that's death to America, because nobody can read it. Later, they see someone else. They meet one of the neighbors. I think they call him Billy. And they meet him, and they're like, okay, well, we think something's going on. And he's like, oh, yeah, my friend got one of those too. He found one of them too that said death to America. But it was Arabic. So he's like, maybe these nations are getting together and they're going to knuckle up with America. Or maybe it's more than just two. So they say that. And I think that was to throw us off. The papers are red, right? I think that is a literal red herring because I think it was aliens. Because there's a loud sound that they hear. A loud sound, and it's loud enough that it's shattering glass, right? Breaking stuff in the house. They're all grabbing their ears. It's loud enough that they're in the house, falling to their knees because it's so loud. Some of the kids were outside the house, and they did the same thing. It was so loud, it just knocked them for a loop. They find a shed. And no one seems to remember this part. No one seems to talk about this part. But they find a shed near the house. The kids do. In the shed, there's leaves that are piled up, and then they stop. And then there's an indentation about 6 feet. And then there's leaves again, 6 feet long, about a half a foot deep. So the oldest son says, oh, someone was laying there. Someone was asleep there. And I'm thinking, aliens? Someone would sleep there. Now, if it was a military invasion, it would have been more than likely more than one dude sleeping there, or sleep at all there. And if it was a military invasion, why are they watching this house? Well, out of all of the houses in the U.S., they decided they were going to look at that one house. They said, get that one troop in there, put them in a bunker, and make them look at the house, and then get up and leave. It didn't make any sense. If it was an alien, we just wouldn't understand what they were doing. Maybe they wanted to see how people reacted to the loud noises. Who knows? But someone was laying there, and after they leave the bunker, they never bring it up again. Someone was watching, and from where they were laying, the son says, they're looking directly at the house, the window. They're looking at our house, at the house that they were renting. And he's like, it's the sister's bedroom. Dun, dun, dun. I'm like, that never comes up again. Nobody ever brings that up again. He didn't go back and tell his mom and his dad, hey, there's a bunker out there. And apparently somebody was sleeping there, staring at the house all night. He never mentions it. That seems like that would have been important. In these type of movies, the protagonist always sees something, like he'll look down the hallway and see a shadow. And then the shadow moves. And they're like, what are you looking at? And he's like, I don't know. It's a freaking shadow that just moved. You saw it. There's someone down the hallway. They always do that in a movie. That's a movie trope where you have some information, but you won't give it to anybody else. And later it turns out that that's uber important. I don't know why they do that. There was a person laying there, looking at the house, you're positive of that, and you ain't gonna tell nobody else. Even if you were wrong, you were pretty sure that was what was happening, and you still didn't tell nobody. What? So all these things are happening, and it turns out that George, GH, the African American who actually owns the home, he pulls out some keys and opens a dresser that they tried to get into and couldn't get into. He does some other things to let them know for sure that he's the owner of the house. George has a gun, but he only draws it once, and they never mention the gun again. There's an ongoing theme in the movie where the daughter, the youngest daughter, the visiting family's daughter, wants to watch the final episode of Friends. They mention it like 4 times throughout the movie, maybe 5. At the end of the movie, she finally gets to watch Friends. She leaves her family, man. She gets up, she walks through the house, wanders through the house, finds bikes. There's bicycles in the house. She takes a bike. That's theft. And she leaves her family. That's abandonment. That's your mom, man. You gonna leave your mom to die? She had to see Friends that bad. She just wandered through the neighborhood, found a house, broke into the house, because somehow she knew there was food and friends in there, broke into the house, ate food, just sitting there like a queen, eating food, popping bonbons, drinking juice and everything, and then decides to explore the house, finds a panic room, which the family was alerted to earlier. That's where they're headed to. Finds a panic room, goes in there and sees tons of movies, tons and tons of movies. If I took my camera and I spun it around, you'd see tons of movies here. I still got VHS, man. I got VHSs and DVDs, and still, even with, 200-300 movies here, 400 movies, there, it was way more movies. This is a huge thing of movies. And she's like, and then dun dun dun, she sees it, Friends. So she takes it out, she looks for the final one, she sticks it in there, she still ain't worried about her family. And she just sits there, and the show ends with dun 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 dun. She's watching Friends. Now we can assume that the rest of the family finds her because they were headed to this particular house. They were told the house had a panic room. So they're headed there, and there is a lot of food. There's enough food for that family, those 2 families, the 6 of them, to last months, maybe more than that. There's drinks, there's water, there's great big things of water, there's blankets, it's made out, it's not like, you would see a regular panic room where there's like maybe a couch and a chair and some food and a TV. This is made out like a gigantic, humongous house inside the panic room. Nice furniture, carpet on the floor, it might have been a chandelier. It was really nice. So they could live there swell for a long time. Though I think there's going to be problems because the daughter was hitting on the husband, who seemed a little surprised by that. But he didn't no, here, stop, don't talk about that, get away from me. He wasn't completely against it, he just seemed surprised. GH, Mahershala Ali's character, and Julia Roberts' character, they were very close to being naughty. They were very close to it. And the tension between them seems like eventually, when everybody's sleeping in the house one night, they're going to be naughty. That's what the tension between them grew from, her being racist towards him to being like, hey, how you doing? It was that kind of a thing. So there's going to be a lot of complications in that house, I think. But you can't leave. Once they're in there, they can't leave because of the aliens. It's going to be aliens, man. One of the last things they see before they head towards the house is across a lake, they see the city. And they see explosions in the city. They can hear gunfire. You know, there's people screaming in the background. And I'm thinking, you know, it gives you the impression, because they say that there will be a civil war. What's happening would start a civil war. I'm thinking it's people seeing aliens and going, ah, and then shooting to try to fight the aliens, and the aliens blowing stuff up. They're here now. It could very well be another nation attacking us, but there were no planes in the air. But there were explosions, huge explosions that were taking down skyscrapers. Boom, skyscraper comes down. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, you can't see the ships because they're really high in the air, or maybe they're invisible, or maybe the aliens are throwing bombs. I don't know, but I'm still thinking aliens. Man, I think that was an alien invasion movie. It was good though. It was really good. I mean, you had some really great actors. In this movie, man. And this movie was so good that I liked it. I didn't like the ending so much. Just the daughter sitting there eating chips or whatever and looking at friends when they could have done more about the aliens. I mean, yeah, they want to leave it a little, you know, it's a little mystery. You got to figure it out, you know, but aliens, man. The ending was not that great to me. They should have given us a little more, or they should have at least found each other and, you know, heartfelt hugs all around or something, but nah, just little kids sitting there eating potato chips, watching Friends. And then it literally fades to black. I stayed there and watched till everything went up, because I just knew they were going to have something extra, but nah, nothing at all. But even with that, I give this movie eight bags of popcorn. I almost said 9 because it pulled me in and it was intriguing, it was interesting. I almost said 9, but I'm going to say 8 bags of popcorn. I think I'm going to start doing halves, but 8 bags of popcorn. Because that's what I think about that. But more importantly, what do you think about that? Now you've seen the video, let's talk about it some more in the comments. And always, if you like the video, if you like the content, subscribe. And then like.
Popcorn passport. Get your popcorn passport.